Welcome, beautiful Emma Lovell, to the Felt Business Path Chat. I'm very excited to have this heartfelt conversation with you today. Just to give everyone a little bit of context, Emma and I connected in Kerry Rowett's Align and Attract Mastermind. Um, Emma saw that I had posted because she came in after me in watching a past call. She saw that I had posted about wanting to be on more podcasts. And so she invited me to hers, which was lovely. And from there, we've just really stayed connected. We caught up recently in the Gold Coast, and it's, yeah, a lovely connection in my business life now, I have to say, Emma. It's lovely to have you in the room.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And we just did a little beautiful centering exercise, and I it's pretty easy to tap into the gratitude because I just thought, yeah, I'm so happy to have you in my world. So thank you.
Ditto, thank you. So, what I always ask people to start is, can you tell us a little of your story to now? Can you take us back on the journey of Emma Lovell, the business, which I know is actually a pretty long one and a pretty, there have been a lot of corners and twists and turns.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
us there.
the evolution. So, yeah, I'll do as abridged as I can. So, I am uh, coming up my 17 years in business next week. But people will probably hear, if you're hearing, if you're not watching, I sound quite young. But I am 39 as of last week, but I started my business when I was 22. So a little baby in university, but I feel like I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. So, the classic running a garage sale when I was 9 years old and running a little massage business in my house, don't freak out, for my parents, running my little business in the house. But always was interested in business and went on a gap year when I was 18 and lived in England, but came back to do a business degree. I knew I could have kept traveling and I had some work opportunities and things, but really felt like I needed that foundation of business and to speak the lingo, I guess. So I did majored in marketing and PR, which is another reason you and I connect, marketing brains. But I really loved the PR and the communications. And then felt very behind, like I needed to be, felt like I should have been writing a book about my year away, about how to travel, which is funny because that came a bit full circle, but also that I should have started a business because once I decided, I was like, I could just run my own business in PR. Like, this is, Delulu 20-year-olds, what a gift. And then when I was 21, I broke my back. So actually 22, just turned 22, and I broke my back snowboarding, competing in university games. And the gift of that, which I know sounds strange, is that it made me stop. And it was the universe telling me to stop because I was working in promotions, I was working in the university in events, I was working in the office of the company my dad was the CEO of, doing marketing, just work, travel, study, work, travel, all the thing, party. And that time of healing, physically being broken, gave me the quiet and the pause to go, well, I want to start this business. Maybe I should start it. Registered a business name, told my client, told the business that I was working for, like, could I invoice you instead of you of being an employee? And I had a client, and then just told people I've started a business. So, yeah, the blessing of being 22 is that you don't know any better, and you just start. And it's the same advice I'd give to anyone these days: is you just start and you figure it out as you go along. And it's funny thinking back in the business, like. And I always said my business, but I sort of think back now and laugh a little bit because it's like, I don't know. Look, a business is exchanging goods or services for money. That's it. It's really simple, but just the way that I ran it was very simple and it was kind of good. It funded my life. I was profitable, all that sort of stuff. Now bigger things, bigger business. Anywho, what I focused on was PR, social media marketing, and communication, copywriting. But social media, I was quite, 17 years ago, it wasn't a job, was it? So,
Mm.
I've always had this
No.
thing in my business of like being a bit of a maverick and being a bit of a paving the way and then having to explain a lot of what I'm doing. And I just keep continuing to do that, which is a bit frustrating. So at my 10-year mark, I was like, something needs to change. And so I worked with a coach and I ended up, she sort of pulled my skills together and was like, you could do personal branding because I loved the brand and I loved the marketing side, but I didn't like the fact that you just felt like a cog in the wheel. You deliver the work and you move on, you deliver the work and you move on. I liked the impact, seeing the impact of the work I was doing. So personal branding to work with a person and how to communicate themselves. And I was very good at personal brand. But again, we're talking 7 years ago. Personal brand wasn't a thing. Now you hear about it till you're blue in the face. Everybody's got a personal brand. Everything's personal brand. People didn't know what personal brand was. So I was coaching on that. So, and then 2023, tragedy in my family hit in a number of ways. And I realized I had to write a book. Book was screaming at me. And the thing I wanted to write the book about was how to run a business and travel the world. But somebody pointed out to me, actually, Emma, your gift is making money. And I've always just been able to make money and through many, many, many streams. And so to make the book a bit more universal too, it was travel the world and make money, make money. So anybody can do that. And I was told the term bleisure, which is a term that ever existed. So bleisure is business and leisure, bleisure. Um, and it just totally just was like this lightning bolt of like, oh my gosh, that's what I've done all along. I always traveled. I've always made money. I've always, we had a beautiful Bleisure Day on the Gold Coast where we are work colleagues who caught up, but in a beautiful place like a bathhouse. And that can be the way that you can do things. And just had this term for how I'd done it all along. And so, yeah, the book really became, so yeah, if people want a longer version of my story, it's all in the book, The Art of Bleisure. And so it's funny because I thought I'd write a business book or a travel book, how to travel book, or how to do business book, and I ended
You
up
wrote
writing it
both.
both.
Mm.
And it was just such a beautiful way for everything to come together. So I now call myself the Bleisure Coach, talking to people about how they can create their bleisure life. But, because I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, I also run a business which is a retreat consultancy, Rest and Receive. So we help people to create, design, plan retreats. And then I went ahead and acquired a website called Retreat Me Happy, which is a global directory for retreats. So, and I'm writing another book. So I have heaps of time. And that's what I guess that brings us up today.
I think the thing is, though, with everything you do, it's very synergistic. And I love the Retreat Me Happy's just literally in the last month you've launched it, right? Or that you've come live, sorry, that you'd bought it. And it did. I straight away struck me that makes complete sense that you would do that. That's just sort of coming full circle on everything you do and all the skills you've acquired. One thing I wanted to go back to is I think entrepreneurial people often are entrepreneurial from the minute they're born. And I think it's very hard to explain that to people when they're not entrepreneurial, that it's a bit of almost like a rod on your back. Like it's almost like if you don't do something about it, it's going to hit you over the head over and over again until you do. But also the flip side of that is it's not as fun always as people will assume. It's a lot of work and there's a lot of crap times in it too. But that incredible and kind of deep drive always keeps you going. So I love those stories
That
about the
urge.
childhood,
Yeah.
creating the businesses. I can resonate because I did similar things,
Or
and
selling lollies or the lemonade
yeah,
stand or the making bracelets or even like I did fundraising and I put it into the book. Like I raised to $1,600 selling chocolates, fundraising chocolates. I got my whole water polo group all selling chocolates because we were going on a tour to New Zealand. So the trip was 2.5 grand. Well, my parents only paid 900 because I raised
the
1,600.
rest, yeah.
And there were people who sold one box or didn't want to sell a box or didn't
Mm.
bother. I had I had a network. I had people having the boxes in their offices. I had my brother at school carrying that box every day. I had my sister carrying that box every day. I had it in this classroom, this classroom. Like we ordered the boxes to my house and distributed them to anybody who wanted to. Um, I was like, duh. Like I don't know, like it's just and I was 16 and you're like, of course I would do this. Like
Yeah,
you know, and but as I said, like others had that opportunity, even through me, that I made it easy for them. So you could have 10 boxes or 5 boxes or whatever. They just didn't want to.
yeah,
They can't compute. And I'm just like,
yeah,
same now with people like, why are you going off and doing this mystery shopping? Like, you've already got a business, or you got this. And I was like, why wouldn't I go and like, I don't know, have dinner and write a report and get paid for it? Why wouldn't I go stay in a hotel and get paid for it? Those are very good ones. Or I go to a gym and I do a tour and then I report back on it and I
mm,
get paid $60. Like that's soak bathhouse money. I
But
don't know.
that's right. But
Duh.
that's in your DNA to
Yeah.
do that and to be like that. And I think that's something that is a common thread with all entrepreneurial stories. Like, and but everyone might be a bit different. Like I probably was less. I was more that I set up the stall, like the Virgo, the very careful stall that we sold high-end bespoke wooden swords at with my dad at the school fair, and then got extremely upset when I didn't get all the money from it because it was a school sponsorship thing. But all those things, like you all have your way of doing it, but the common thread is everyone feels this compulsion, and you just did it really young. But then also you had a very, seismic life event that made you have the kind of real reframe on it, which again, some people won't have at
Yeah.
all or
Don't
till later.
recommend.
You don't wish that on them
No,
early.
I don't break your back. You don't,
But
and even I wrote it in the book. I was like, don't wait for a tragedy or an
mm,
injury or a major life event to have to go, I get to choose my life.
mm,
And now it's sort of such a thing for me. Like it's almost like a really like I'll have days where I'm sitting in here and bless her, our dearly just departed Dolly Parton, 9 to 5 comes into my head and it's like, I don't have to work 9 to 5, but I'm sitting there like because it's kind of the world is like that. And then I'm like, thinking I have to plow away. And I was like, but it's a beautiful day. And it's like, Emma, you're the boss. Go for a walk. Like, I don't have to sit here. And I know that because I'm an entrepreneur and I get driven at various times, I'm going to work 9 till 11 p.m. tonight. So I don't work 9 to 5. I work 9 p.m. to 2 a.m.
mm,
sometimes because
yeah.
that's when my brain works.
Or you choose to have a rest
Yeah.
too, which is also, I don't know, that's a bit of a lesson that you takes a while to learn, but you're allowed to do that too. But
Yeah.
yes, it is. It's a very different way to work. And because the strictures of our society are as they are, it does actually take you a while to unlearn that too. But I think that's the other thing I wanted to touch on is that yes, when it comes to starting a business, I 100% agree. There's no model, there's no formula, there's no magic. You just start one step at a time, one little thing at a time. If you're feeling driven, have a crack. And the cool thing is in a 2026 world, you can do that from your home.
You can
When
do
I
it
was
overnight.
little, you couldn't, but you can do it now from potentially from a laptop or
Well, but even in 2016, I set up a pet sitting business and I really set it up in an afternoon. So I had partnered with this other lady and then it was getting a bit complex. Yeah, I know this is the story of my life. It was getting, so we'd used all her Facebook page and her Twitter and all that sort of stuff, but she had trouble because she'd done it for free. So she was struggling to go to payments, whereas I'd come out and gone, I'm doing pet sitting and it's paid. And
Mm,
even right now, we're renting out our house when we go away for 3 months. And I was like, oh, I have to make it very clear that it's a rental. It's not a pet's a house sitting. And so then people are messaging me going, hey, how much is the rent? Or what are
mm,
you looking for? And so with the pet sitting, it was always, it's paid. So I was getting paid and she wasn't. And I was like, you know what? You take that, you created that, all the best, wish you love. There's 30 bucks in the bank account. It's all yours. I'll start again. And registered the ABN, the name, got the logo, like did it all in an afternoon, bank account, everything set up in an afternoon. I think the issue though, so I do have that in me, and that was 2016, and I was still able to do that. The issue now, and I just saw 111 on the clock, is say with Retreat Me Happy, is got caught up in the proper business. And I want to do this properly and I want to set it up properly, even though it's an existing business. I bought a website, but we had to change it over. And instead of just starting, and then as you start one thing, you do the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. I saw the whole beast and I saw the 5 year path
and you
and I
got
saw all
overwhelmed.
the evolution. Yeah, and I was overwhelmed. But
Mm,
two things. One thing that I built it up to be too big and put too much pressure as opposed to just taking it step by step. But the second thing was that I do also think that tapping into my intuition, I didn't have the capacity, I didn't have the focus, I didn't have the energy that it deserves that I
mm.
now have. And
Yeah, which is also right. Yeah,
yeah, so those two things exist at once. And
yeah.
so there's been times I've said, you've like, oh, and now you've put the website up. And part of me wants to go finally. And then part of me's like, no, it's happening as it's meant to because I have the capacity now. I have the tools now. I have the vision now. I have the support now. Um, I have the desire.
Mm,
And once
mm.
I started working, and it's been really fun and I see where it can go. But just yeah, acknowledging sometimes things do just have a time, and that I can hold something, and that's the blessing of my book is like I had that idea, like I said, in when I was
Mm.
18. I didn't write the book till I was 36. Like I can hold a dream for 18 years. I can
Yeah.
hold an idea for 18 years. And so to hold this website for a year, it was always meant to be
Yeah.
mine. She
I think,
nurtured it for the first 6 years and then she
yeah.
passed it on to me and I'm the custodian now and I'm and now I'm ready to hold it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a really important message too, because I think both that message around everything being perfect is something, in supporting business owners starting things a lot. I see that over and over, and I do always just go, okay, let's just break it down into the thing we can do now and not worry about it being everything being ticked, every box being ticked, because you and I both know you're just better to make a start. But also equally, I 100% agree that sometimes it isn't the right time and that's okay. And just because we have a dream doesn't mean we have to do it tomorrow. And there's nothing wrong with doing it in 10 or 20 years. And I'm sure in many cases in a life, you're not meant to sometimes do them until, you look at in our field or even just in social media, some of the older women doing things, or
Mm,
the older women
amazing.
writing books. And that gives me such comfort because I go, okay, it's all right, but I'm quite good at, I've learnt the hard way that I'm good at going, no, it's okay. You don't have to have it all right now and it'll unfold. And then you add astrology into that and then it all starts to make even more sense.
And
Because
it can
there
come
is a
together
time,
quickly, right? Like the
yeah,
book,
in the right time,
it
it
comes
falls
together
into
quickly when you
place.
have the skills. And you know what? Doing the book, like it's like I didn't even 3 years ago, 3 years prior to when I wrote it, I didn't have probably the can't think of the word right now, but the like strength in myself or the oh, there's a V word that I'm trying to think of, but it's just to stand by what I wanted. To
Yeah.
be able to produce the book that I wanted to the quality that I wanted to do justice, to have the weight that I wanted it to have the impact I wanted to have. I had to be able to stand by that book. And I think going through the process, you have to work, it's a real team effort, it's a real project management piece. And when you've got the right people working on it, it's amazing. But when you're not, and I unfortunately didn't have a right person, I could have so easily been swayed to,
Mm,
and my book vision could have gone. So I had the vision, but I also had the like certainty and trust in myself that I was like, no, no, I know what is right. I might not know books, and I need you to guide me on publishing and printing and stuff like that. Totally learned a whole new industry. Also realized I was setting up an e-commerce business. Like we put it on the website. I was like, oh my God,
oh yeah.
I have stock. I have boxes of, I have stock. I was like, oh my God, I have a product business now. Didn't
Mm,
know I was doing that. And all these things that you have to learn that you don't realize. I just wouldn't have had the not even conviction. There's this like just to stand by what
mm,
I wanted. And I think I needed to be this a bit older to get to produce it the way that it is and had to go through the, journey to be able to do it and to, not that, you can also, I know someone who's published a book, self-published, and later been acquired by Hay House, and they've
mm,
ended up reprinting the books and taking photos of the covers and doing it in a more polished way or whatever. So it can work both ways, but I
yeah.
knew that it had waited long enough that it was like this, I want it to be this. So
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, you're waiting for a reason and then all of those skill sets, but just that empowerment within myself to have this project that I'm so damn proud of.
And that listening to your own gut, I think that does take learning to come to that place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you could just be you get told what to do, and even you and I have talked about we were but I've left a bunch of group programs this year, and I go through phases where I feel that and I need that connection, and I'm grateful for the connection.
Mm,
I'm grateful sometimes for the learning, but then other times I just feel like I'm almost becoming
hmm.
outsourcing my gut. I'm outsourcing, I'm asking answers. Even you and I both love cards. Sometimes I'm asking the cards, I'm asking everybody except myself.
Mm,
And like little 22-year-old Emma just winged it. And she did
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the ignorance was bliss.
Yeah.
It was so blissful.
Yes, but you do, I think as you get older, your fear does grow too. I think I spoke about this. Did I speak about this on your podcast? I traveled a lot in my 20s and I got on and off planes like they're buses without a moment's thought. I have to slightly medicate now to go on planes because I get scared and I never used to. So unfortunately, the more you know, the more you do have fear at the table. And so you got
You
to
have more to lose as
work,
well, though.
but you have more tools and you got to work with how to live with that. But it is, yes, you are a bit more ignorant when you're younger in a good way. It's not
Well, but
bad.
also like, I'd say you've got, you have a family. And when I was young, when I was 22,
Oh, mm,
I was living at home when I started that.
mm,
Even when I was living on my own in Melbourne, like my outgoing monthly expenses bar rent was like $180 for the business.
yeah.
Now it's like 2,000, is my minimum. And I've cut it down and down and down. I mean, I could stop having an assistant, but the business would frankly stop.
Mm,
Um, without her, she is a godsend. But um, I just could run it on a shoestring. And these days I can't. But
mm,
also I have people who rely upon me and who I
mm.
need to support and who our decisions impact. That 22-year-old traveling by laptop and phone office Emma is different. And so I think the fear, in setting up this new business too, and for you and taking on things, even if it's travel, is like my decisions and my choices do have consequences for other
They're
people than
heavier.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
right. There's
and
just
I
so
do
much.
pay someone. I have somebody that I feel responsible to, that I pay to, and I have customers that I serve that I feel, where the type of work I used to do was like, okay, contracts ended, bye, or I'm not
Mm,
available today, bye.
mm.
I now run a website that if something's broken, it impacts everybody,
Yeah.
so I need capacity to do that. And, I take that responsibility seriously. So again, I did need to have the time and now having started it and working it, I'm like, oh my God, how I couldn't have done this last year. I did not have
Yeah.
the energy to give this what it needs. No. So yeah, timing works out
And
this.
that, yeah, and that trust of being able to look back and go, yeah, just trust. So tell us a little bit about, why you do what you do now. Like what drives you now in this current iteration of Emma Lovell, the business?
For me, like my personal drive is always freedom and choice. And obviously travel is freedom to me. But that's my version. So my North Star is travel, but my North Star is probably really like that freedom to choose. And
Mhm.
so I want to give that to other people too. And I think that's, in the Bleisure coaching, it's the Bleisure life plan. And it's like saying you get to choose and you get to choose what your life looks like. And I can't tell you what your Bleisure life plan is, completely different to my Bleisure life plan. And you decide what that looks like, but let me guide you on, or give you the permission or the tools or the ideas or the some structures or some, past mistakes, experiences that can help you to do that. And then, same with the retreat consultancy. It's like I want to see people running these amazing, profitable, transformative retreats that help people, but also like it should be helping you and not burning you out. So,
Mm,
and then you get to go and do these incredible things in incredible places with incredible people. Like that's beautiful freedom and choice that you get to choose what you create. And then, again with the um, retreat me happy, it's like giving people a place to promote their business, to share their business, to connect with other businesses who are in that industry, in that space, like bringing that world together, that more people get to experience this life that I get to experience all the time. So, it's like, I want what she's having. Well, you can.
mm,
And so that's what I want is like, I want to see more people not doing what I'm doing it the way that they want to do it.
mm,
But not just looking at me going, oh, well, it's all well and good for her. Or isn't she lucky? And I think even we talked and you said something, I'm lucky or we're lucky. And I was like, I always just use the word fortunate because we're creating this and we're choosing this and we're choosing the challenges that come with this. But I think the risk is worth the reward.
mm. Well, it obviously is because we're all still here.
Or we're
Sometimes it's
just
like,
suckers for
why?
punishment. We're just the fool. We're just the
Yeah,
fool.
yeah.
La la
It
la.
is. But that's also, I think, the deep stuff too that drives us. So you touched a little bit then on what you do across the businesses. Could you elaborate a bit more on that? Because they have a real synergy, but they all do offer different services, right?
Yeah, so sometimes I not worry, but obviously I understand I need to be like, it's my job to communicate what I do and how I do it. And so I did send an email earlier this year and messages to people saying, just letting you know, you probably know me from many walks of life and many iterations of business. But right now I'm focusing on retreat consultancy, or consultancy in general, coaching and I'd say consulting more because consulting tends to be more helping people to do stuff or doing it with them, whereas coaching tends to be more telling and guiding. And I think right now we need people doing for
Mhm.
us or with us and just getting it done. Even if you're sitting beside someone body doubling, I think
Yeah.
we just need a lot of that. We've done a lot of learning and acquire, like, we don't want to be told what to do, we need to do it.
Mhm.
So, and then speaking and emceeing. So whilst I'm not doing a lot of that at the moment, I do it here and there, but it's what I love. So it's like, if you ask me what I want to be doing, that's what I told people. And so sometimes people forget that I can do those things. So I sent those emails out. So, and then it's been kind of fun to look at I call it like my Bleisure world. And I view it like it's in a snow globe. And so, you got the water, but like a water snow globe. So you got water on the bottom, and each of the businesses is like a little boat, or in the case of Retreat Me Happy, it's a cruise ship. They're all different boats. So yeah, but Emma Lovell's the catamaran. And so I can get to the different boats. And so sometimes I'm on this boat and I'm working on this boat, and sometimes I'm on this boat, and it's my job to tell people what's on each boat. So Emma Lovell really is like, and Bleisure can be business, travel, self-care, so anything under that. And so the course is kind of the primary there, um, of the Bleisure life. And then speaking on that or emceeing as me because I'm me and I can be anywhere. And then Rest and Receive, has evolved too. A Rest and Receive was, I thought, going to be me hosting retreats, which it was. I was hosting retreats, but more and more people get coming to me for asking me how I do it. And, in terms of impact, and we're both big on, I mean, any business should be, I can impact far more people by teaching them how to run these profitable retreats that are really transformative, um, rather than me helping 7 people twice a year or three
Mm.
times a year. I can be helping 12, 20, 100 people to help 12 people, you know.
Mm.
And so I created the Host Profitable Retreats course. So the key word, the really important word is profitable. There are a lot of retreats out there. I can tell you a lot of them aren't profitable. I can tell you a lot of them you see are promoted, do not run, they are cancelled. And there's a lot of people burnt out from doing it and trying it. Or they run one and they never run it again because it was just all too hard. And I'm like, we don't have to do it that way. So that's the work that I'm doing there. And I partner with a travel company in India. So primarily, if we can get clients to India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, we can do the whole package for them there. And that's kind of where we've specialized. So we've got 8 retreats running over the next few months with beautiful retreat hosts going and taking these amazing groups. And then, yeah, retreat, I just felt like I knew the ecosystem needed the directory piece. And it's like, why would I build it? And I did want to approach the owner. I knew her, and I wanted to approach her in 2024, I think, or 2025. No, 2024. I wanted to approach her. And then I thought, oh, I don't want to, like, it seemed like a little bit more activity started again because it seemed like it had gone quiet. I was like, does she even want to run it? I thought, I don't want to insult her. And I've told her this, and yeah, I will get her on my podcast sometime. And then she just popped up in my inbox in June last year in 2025 and said, hey, Emma, would you be interested in buying my business? And I was like, absolutely. So yeah, we did that like kind of handover in around August, September, and then um, I know what it could be, and so as I said, I built it up. But the difference is it was a retreat listing website, so predominantly you were going there to find a retreat, to discover more retreats, and it was Australia, New Zealand, Bali focus. So I'm opening it up to global,
Hmm.
and also, again, I want to support those people in the industry, like the things I'm always getting asked about venues. I'm always getting asked about suppliers. Like, and suppliers is very diverse. You could be a supplier. Like, we need marketing help. We need
Mm.
administration help. We need caterers and therapists and obviously venue, and we might need a driving company. Like there's so many services that when you think about the various types of retreats that can supply to the industry, that want to work in the industry. And so we've now got a supplier and a venue section. So basically, it's
Mm.
kind of like a one-stop shop for the host. And then the customer, like, yeah, it's that funny thing, Mark, like, who's the customer? So
Mm.
people are coming discovering, but they might even find the venue and go, oh, the venue, I could go to a venue that just does retreats. So
Mm.
multi-pronged. But yeah, it feels like a lot, but it's also I'm not doing all of it all the time.
Mm.
You know, I'm not I'm only talking about it, but I have been doing some messaging at the moment just around, yeah, I run three businesses and here they are, you know, or and really sort of organizing my like LinkedIn and my Facebook and being like, yeah, these are the three. And if you want this, go here. And if you want this, go here. And if you want this, go here. And if you don't
Yeah.
know what you want, talk to me.
I love that. I think I saw the one that I commented on one on LinkedIn this week. I think it was great. And talking about you saying that you're multi-passionate. Um, and I think, yeah, that you could probably do need to do that. As a marketer, I would be doing exactly that, but it makes sense. They make sense together. So
Yeah.
with the Retreat Me Happy, what's the customer journey? So so the idea would be someone would come to the site who might be looking for a retreat and could look for what's on potentially globally with people that are listing with you, right? That's
Yes.
how it works. Yeah. And
So
then
we
treat
have
hosts.
like on the website, on the homepage, and in the tabs, we have for guests, for
Mhm.
hosts, for venues, for suppliers.
Oh, yeah, cool.
But some people will straddle all three or four.
Mm.
You know, you could own a venue, and I have a client like this. She goes on retreats, she runs her retreats, she's a meditation specialist, and she just told me she has a venue in the Hunter Valley. So I was like, well, you will be buying. And someone's like, bundle it up. I was like, I'm not at bundles yet. Which is, but
Yeah.
it is the difference is, and this where the challenge is. And what blocked me for a long time, to be honest, too, was the pay going to a paid model. So she
Mm.
had some payments. So there were venue payments, but there were also advertising and sponsored posts. So the other thing is it's built on a blog, which is really fun because, like we said, it's going, you know, I started with a WordPress site and I'm back on a WordPress site. And I
Mm.
published a blog last week and I just had this rush of nostalgia, like, and then I got this real excitement last week and couldn't sleep the night before my birthday because I was like, oh my gosh, all my like travel writer friends, I can bring them
Mm.
back in and we can have this real editorial side, which
Mm.
is what it was being found for was the blog. And I think
Mm.
we're missing long form content. But the other thing I'm adding is a podcast. You know, I'm
Mhm.
adding a YouTube channel. You and I talked off air. Like our tagline is bringing the world of retreats together. So
Mm.
I can have events that bring
Mm.
this world together in physical form. It's just it's really fun because I'm like, oh my gosh, this really is bringing all my world and experience, the promo,
Together.
the copywriting, the social
Yeah.
media, the marketing, and somebody signed up the other week and she said, and this is where the fear goes, because some people are going to be like, no, I used to do free listings, I don't want to pay. Okay, well, we're not for you because and so we're like, I can't tell me your stats. And I've said we're relaunching, we're rebuilding, and that's why I'm
Mm.
here. And so I'm like, I don't have the numbers for you, to be honest. But there are other people who are just like, love it. I want to get on the train. You know,
Yeah.
and someone we know, she listed as a supplier and she said she already had an inquiry,
Awesome.
you know, and this other woman said, I said, oh, do you want to have a chat? Do you want to talk about it? Like, you know, like the way we have to sell for all the service. And she was like, no, I've looked at your page. I understand what you do. I know your PR background. Happy to list.
I think that's what I kind of get, to me, what you're going to create is an incredibly I don't know whether you're finding this, but there seem to be a lot of retreats happening out there. And every person is running a retreat. And I agree. I have a hospo and event background, so I am quite natural at doing things like this as well as being a marketer. But I know a lot of people don't. And so I know they don't think of the sheer volume of things you probably have to consider. And I always think, God, it must be hard for them because they probably have this wonderful idea, but the actual application of
Implementation.
it is really quite tough. But what I love about yours is that to me, it's immediately an incredibly trustworthy spot on the interweb for retreat stuff because you're so clearly experienced before you've even gotten to this point. Like you imagine if you'd started at this point. it would be a different story. But well, you're not ending. You're coming to it at this point in your journey when your IP is so high in the space and in lots of spaces. So it makes such sense that it would be a really trustworthy place for this sort of information.
Well, and from that storytelling perspective, part of me wants to, a part of me over the years has wanted to create a business that is a bit faceless and a bit not so reliant on me because obviously I have a business and a name. I've got my face on the cover of a book, a lot of my business and the thing that I've sort of always had the feedback was like your business, being a retreat host, it's very reliant upon you. It's very
Mm.
reliant upon you. And not having that support, even with assistance, it's still Emma has to show up and do the thing. So I'm excited about the fact that I don't have to show up and do all the things. However, you're right, and I can't exclude
Build your
myself.
IP. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't exclude myself from it.
Yeah.
And what I've called myself is like I don't call myself the founder because there was a founder. I don't call myself the owner because I just sounds very possessive and not right. So I called myself the custodian. And
Nice.
I'm the custodian of this site, and that might be for a short time or a very long time or whatever. But I also feel like that we're collaborating and co-creating this space. It's everybody who's going to contribute to it that's going to create it.
Mm.
But I do have to show up on some videos soon. I'll be the podcast host, and it will be my knowledge and experience of the industry. And this is the old people who used to list for the website that they're buying the product of the website, whereas the people who know me will go, oh, Emma knows this stuff. Oh, well, I'm going where she's going, you know.
Yes.
And so we've done the outreach to all the past clients, and I
Yeah.
thought that might be a bulk of sales, but it may not be because they don't know me from a bar of soap.
Mm.
They are relying upon the numbers, and I'm
Mm.
like, um, there's actually more equity in some other stuff sometimes. So if you can't see the vision and you don't want to get on it, it's fine. Come see me in 2 years when it's super successful and my rates have gone up. Happy to
Mm.
take your money then.
Yeah. I think
But
that's right. It's good to hear this as a story because this is like no matter where you are in business, it's still a learning curve. When you take on something new, it doesn't mean, I mean, yeah, maybe you get there faster than you would have initially, but you still got to take a little bit of a path to get there.
oh, and I thought we'd be up and running in a week or two, like because it was like I'll just change this and that. But
Mm.
with a website, every time you change something, you got to change something else,
Mm.
and even to the micro things like our Google, like it's not got our logo or, it just, and it really will irk me. Like this tiny little icon and it's not on brand and it doesn't feel like, and that's why I keep saying it's got to feel like us. And you can really feel an energy shift. And the old founder, she's
Mm.
lovely. She's like, oh, I'm loving what you're doing with the brand. And already I can see like it just needed to feel different. And I was really like, I said, I'm like, I'm sorry. I know it's just a color, but having that old attachment to the old
Yeah.
subscription box, just even that color changing
Yeah.
just makes such a difference to
Yeah.
feel like us. And you putting that, yeah, new energy into it and telling people we're here. But there's
Yeah.
so many people, and you get that thing in your head too with the business where you're like, oh, other people are doing this. There are other retreat listing sites. Like there are. I know that they are. And, that can dissuade you to go, oh, well, why would they come and list with us? Because there's other ones. But the
Mm.
amount of people who have, since I've announced this, gone, what a great idea. Oh,
Mm.
I'm going to use something like that. And you're like, guys, this has actually been around this particular website has been around for 7 years.
Mm.
Um,
No,
but you
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And there are people who didn't know what a retreat was, to say that again, that why must I always choose the challenging path? And I think there's a card I've got at the moment, and I just laughed yesterday because it's change is really instant. Walking in a new path full of weeds takes time and consistent effort, not to stray down the old wide open road.
No.
And I'm like, why must I always choose to be the maverick and have to thrash through the woods to make my path? But that's,
Because it's who you are.
I
I
know.
know, I know. I feel it the same too a bit because I always say, I'm kind of doing things before the world has caught on, and it's a really big road to bring the world along. And sometimes you think they haven't come, and they've found someone else in the meantime. But anyway, I think it's just about you've just got to keep doing things your way, and your people will find you, and the right path will come, and it does,
Well,
right?
look, I had social media. People didn't know what, like, it sounds
Yeah,
ridiculous. Didn't know it was a job. I used to
yeah.
play on Facebook apparently. Then personal brand.
Mhm.
Didn't know what it was. Then I go and use a word that's a made up word, bleisure. So people don't
Mhm.
know what pleasure is. Now people are like, Emma, this, tagging me and commenting. Retreats. People didn't know what a retreat is.
No.
Now everyone says they're everywhere. Well, they've been around for yonks, but
Mhm.
they have in the last 3 years or 2 years even, post-COVID, just flourished. And so you don't have people saying, what is a retreat anymore? And
Mm.
you can't just put on a retreat. And I did a post the other week. Generic 101 retreats are
Mm.
done. You cannot just find a pretty venue, pop on some yoga, and expect people to pay thousands. They need to know the transformation. They need to know what they're investing in because there are thousands of other choices.
Mm.
And they want to experience something. And if you can't offer them an experience, and explain that and communicate the experience, and you're just like, it's a retreat.
Mm.
No,
And
can't
that's
happen.
exactly what it is, I think, isn't it? It's the rise of experiential travel that people want travel that has a well-being or meaning laid
Purpose.
to it.
Mm.
And I know, I'm in for retreats. I'm coming into my retreat era. So I think I probably bang on demographics being an almost 50-year-old woman. Like that's what we're looking for. Those sort of times to decompress and experience something that might be different to what we would experience in our everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it all. So I want to now pivot a bit and talk about, and you have touched on it a bit, to be honest, but as a marketer, I really love us marketers to tell people what it feels like to tell our own story, what challenges we actually have. Because I'm helping people every day that are not marketers who are so challenged by this task. And I think it's really comforting for them to hear that
Mm.
the experts also have probably some of the exact pain points they do. So what's been your biggest challenges in telling the story of your
Well, you're definitely
businesses?
you're definitely intuitive, Jess, because I was like, I really need to share this card, and you just tied it in. So I'll read it to you, but it
You have
says,
to read, yes.
never be ashamed of your story. It might become someone's inspiration for transforming their life.
Hmm.
Now, this is actually living on my business altar this year, and I get this reminder, and I look at my book, and it's this like that is that. It's like this is the dirt, this is the dirty laundry, this is the shit, this is the, I don't, it might look shiny and sparkly, my cover, I'm wearing a sequin suit, but I bear a lot in there. So, um, I just think, but you could look at me and go, it's easy for her. Oh, she's confident. She's a Leo. She does it all the time. I still had to start somewhere. My first reels were like so awkward and using shitty filters. And I don't know, I look back, it's like some of my branding from 15 years ago, and you're like, oh, or like photo shoots. And it's like, I'm like, got to stand out. So I'm like bright purple top and fluoro skirt and blah, um, or what you think you should do. But I just don't think, I don't regret it or never regret it because I think at least you tried something. And marketing, even with strategy, even with thing, you are ultimately throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like
Hmm.
you are throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. But people get so scared to even throw the spaghetti, to even say anything, that they don't try. And you cannot hone your message. You cannot get clear on your story. You cannot communicate in a vacuum. And so you sitting here thinking about it and perfecting it and wording it and stuff like that, you know nothing until you put it out. And I really experienced this with the book as well. Like what I created the book for and what I wrote in the book and what I put in that manuscript, I was so protective of it until I handed it over to the editor. And then it becomes something completely different. And then it goes through multiple transformations and iterations and feedback and da da da. And this is the same with any post, any message, any form. What you create, what we're talking about, what we want to say on this podcast, we have no control over what somebody else is going to receive from this and how they're
Mm.
going to interpret it or how they're going to take it on or how they're going to listen to it. They might listen to 2 minutes or 5 minutes or
Mm.
whatever. And so with the book, it was that thing of like once that book is out in the world, it takes on a life of its own. And who are you to say that like just you not sharing your message, you not putting that out in the world, you not being yourself and just or just even telling people about your business, not about yourself, just you're not telling them, you're denying them the opportunity to participate and to engage with.
Mm.
And so I just think back to that. It's like I'm denying people the opportunity to learn, interact, engage. I'm denying myself the opportunity. And I don't know, like put out a post, and my mom will be like, I love that post you put up. I'm like, you're gonna have to be more specific because I put up a lot of content,
Yes.
but I don't even know. And and so I think you just got to try, and you get better through the trying and through the feedback. And the
Mm.
feedback is the gift. And again, I wrote that book. I was so proud of it and what I put in there, I'm really proud of, and what I wanted to say, I've said. But the way that people have fed back to me and what they've said back to me, that's the gift. And the
Mm.
hard part was waiting in that time before we could release it, of not getting that feedback and not getting that, so if you don't put your message out there, you don't get the feedback,
Mm.
good or bad.
You don't even know. I think what I do when I do a post, and I think that's really what you're kind of saying is, but I didn't to begin with. So I had to learn this skill, and that is the challenge. I let it go. So I press post and I let it go. And it will be what it will be. And quite often the things I think will be nothing are bigger than the things think will be something. But I think the main energetic exchange, and I hadn't really clarified that until you just said it then, is I realize I do that. I say let it go. I almost say let it go, press post because I can't control it and I can't hold on to it. But I do need the message in the world for my business to be viable, to be visible, and for people, to be aware of what I do and why I do it. It has to be out there. It's an incredibly important part of it. But yes, it is. That's right. The energetic exchange is actually that you've just got to let it go. But the challenge is coming to being okay with, like, to a place where you can be okay with that.
Well, I had a client, a personal branding client, and literally I said to her, you're going to have to close your eyes and push
Yes.
on her first LinkedIn post. And she literally
Yes.
had to do that. She is now all over it. Like just seeing
Yes.
her transform from that first daunting post. And I just said to her, it's just like a photo and a bit about what you're doing now. I said, people are just going to love seeing
Mm,
you. And it's going to be
mm,
like, oh, there you are. Oh,
mm.
hello. And, I'm terrible sometimes and I'll be like totally love what you're saying, Jess, but actually I love your earrings. Like I'll just go on
Yeah.
to post that. I'll be like, I know this isn't the point, but your red lipstick is fabulous. Like I'll just, um, like the photo can just do that. And helped a client put up her first business post the other day, and it was like, just look at like 60 people have liked it because they're just so happy to
Mm,
see her face on their internets and to be like, oh, you're doing a thing. How exciting. And we're so scared that people might say something bad that they're missing out on all that good. And
yeah.
then, as you say, like people have said over the years, oh, you're so good at this, or how do you get clients, or you're so good at that. And I was like, literally, like what we're doing today. You asked me about my business, so I'm telling you about my business.
Mm,
You're part of what do you do? I tell them about my business, and then someone goes, oh, I think somebody needs that, or somebody needs that, or it's just literally, it's like, well, this is what I'm doing. And
mm,
when I'm posting on my socials as me, which I know personal brand stuff is harder, but it's like if I'm ever in doubt and I'm overthinking it, this is the beauty of the Bleisure life. It's like me living my life is the content. So
yeah.
just share what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I've been sharing from the messy middle because that's where I've been. And this has been a change and an evolution and working out how do I put it into the buckets or how do I communicate that. And some posts will be about this and some posts will be all three. And not every post has to be everything, but if you don't tell people about your business, they can't buy from you. And when I put it back to feel like that, it's like you don't get the income and you don't get the validation and you don't get your business won't survive. But also, you're denying them the opportunity to receive your services and your goods because you didn't
Mm,
tell them about it.
mm,
People love comedians. I used to work with comedians at Comedy Festival, and they'd be like, oh, it's like lame to put up stuff. Now they're all over it. But at the time, again, social media was new and they're like, oh, it's lame to
mm,
promote yourself. Or that's like bragging. And I was like, I like you and I like your comedy. And then I would be so upset if I found out you came to the Gold Coast and I didn't get to see your show because you didn't tell me it was on. You're just telling people it's on. It's like just
Mm.
information. I'm telling you this, Jess, you know this, but it's just information. Hey
Yeah,
guys, I'm doing a show on this night and you can come. And like
yeah.
had to really like coach like and I think you would do this too. You're not just using marketing skills. You have to be a coach and a consultant and a guide and a I don't know, like a emotional support human just to
Well,
get people to
that's
show
right.
up.
It's an energetic exchange too, and that like just like you said with the Retreat Me Happy, creating the energy, it is an energetic exchange. But the other thing I always say to people is people buy from people. They always have, and they always will. That will never change for time immemorial while humanity exists. And so you can do everything everywhere else. You can create AI posters. You can do whatever you want, but people need to see you and they need to feel a little bit about what your unique energy is in order to see if it's the right fit for them to even start listening to what you have to say. And that will never change, and that's the power of it, I think, is showing up. But yeah, it is hard, and that's something I work with people on, is really coming to a place where they can be more in coherence with their heart, not so in their head, about telling their story, because it is confronting and vulnerable work. So, but it's practice, and I think you've just demonstrated that. It's just practice makes progress. You've just got to keep having a crack and throwing
Does your
spaghetti.
Virgo want to say perfect though? You're like practice
What?
makes perfect. Your Virgo wants to say perfect, but
I'm a reformed Virgo, so I'm a reformed perfectionist. I was though. But yes, I learned to let it go because I realized exactly like you, we all know it is throwing spaghetti at the ball. People will go, is there one formula? No. Actually, you're the formula. So how can we make you sing here and feel good
Mm.
about being here and come to some level of consistency, whatever that is for you here?
And you have to be okay with it. And so, like, yeah, hearing you say that back too, it's like with Retreat Me Happy, it's like, yeah, I do think the brand can stand on its own, but like, I know I am the custodian of it. I have to take care of her. I have to show her to people. I have to talk
Mm,
about her. Like, I will show up. And I guess, you know, to me, it's probably just like that ego thing of like, that's probably my worry. It's like, this isn't business about me, but it's like, no, my role is the host. So
mm.
I'm the host of Retreat Me Happy.
Yeah,
I'm the host of the podcast.
yeah.
So if I think of and that's why I'm saying custodian. It's like I'm the host, I'm the caretaker,
Mm,
I'm the facilitator of this. I
yeah.
don't own it. I don't, it's not all about me. But somebody has to drive this, vehicle, to get it going, and that's my job. And
Yeah.
so, and that will require this guy.
Yeah, you will. That will be part of it for sure.
But
But
I'm
you've
just going
done
to write that on the wall, actually, like what I just said about the
this
host.
guy. This guy needs to
This
be.
this guy, but the host, because I'm very comfortable with being a host. And it's funny because
Yes, that's the persona. Yeah.
I've stepped out of the retreat host and I've wanted to step away from that and almost became a little resistant to it. Not that I won't host retreats in the future. And obviously, I think it's a great business model. I know it'd be terrible to talk about any other way. It's just right now, it's not the capacity that I have. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm better off serving retreat hosts. But if I think about I'm the Retreat Me Happy host, it's like I'm the business host. I've always been very good in that role. And I said this one time that I'm Oprah, and someone's like, okay. It's like, no, but in terms of I don't want to be the guest on the show. I want it to be my show.
Yeah.
So I want to be the host of the show,
Yeah.
not the guest, because the guest comes once. The host gets to be there every week. And I want to be here every week.
All right. I'm the final thing I touch on is intuition, and I think you've touched on it with your cards anyway. And I would say the thing with the cards is they're not really another overthinking tool, because they're a reflection tool for you. So they're probably helping you clarify at times when your brain is a bit full. And I think,
Mm.
honestly, I say this about the tarot, that really that's what they are. They're a reflection tool. They're so powerful. And the card I drew was the King of Wands. And to me, this is probably you. The King of Wands are about action and fire and momentum, and the King is like the top of that sort of tier. So the king has done all, has through all the grit and determination and hard work, has got to where he is. And he's very solid, he's very balanced. You know, he listens to his intuition. He's sort of he's got it under control. Systems, processes under control, and all the other stuff. So
Yeah,
he's probably the best king of all the kings, I reckon. When I see him, I always think business person, got their shit together. So, like, if anything, I think that's kind of like a universal message, like you're in the right place. You're
thank
spot
you.
on. And I drew a little felt intention card for you as well. And the one I got was being human makes very good business sense. So
Oh,
I think probably that's exactly what we've been touching on. So he needs to be in the Retreat Me Happy story a bit. But yes, you are. You've done such a big job of doing that in your other businesses anyway, that you've kind of created the foundation really strongly.
that's awesome.
Anyway, and that's also what that card is sort of saying to me is the foundation is strong.
And
So
that's been my biggest, you and I talked about, because
yeah.
in my chart, I've got only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of Earth. I've got Capricorn,
Yes.
the tiniest bit of Capricorn. So there's no Earth in my astrological chart. And foundation and structure has been words that I've just kept saying over the last year. And it's like that I know that the only the, and to be king or queen, I've got a few queens and a few readings lately. And it's like, they, to be sovereign is to be on a structure and a foundation, and you can only
Grounded. Yeah.
rule your empire from that foundation.
Yeah.
If that is not there, you can't build from there. And I think
Yeah.
for a long time I've been trying to build and grow on what is not, and haven't wanted that. Earlier in my journey, I didn't want that. I wanted the freedom, I wanted but
Mm.
learning over time that the foundation, the structure, gives the freedom. So
Mm. Mm.
that has been, and it's really nice to um, feel that. And my VA, who we both love and share, is she has said, I feel at times disorganized, and she's like, I think our systems are good, and she's working with them. So she's like, we do have systems and structure. So to have that confirmation or reflected back to me when it does feel like a bit of a circus in over here, it's
You've got,
really
yeah,
nice.
you've got the fact it is strong and you've worked hard to get there. That's not like you haven't
Mm,
just landed there. That's a card that says it's through grit and determination and action and momentum that you have got to this place.
yeah.
So that's a really nice card to finish on. Okay, to wrap up, tell people how they can find you so that then can also find your other businesses.
Yeah, so primary place, look on Instagram, come find me at emmalovell.au. LinkedIn, I'm talking about all the things. So I'm Emma Lovell, but / Emma Lovely if you want to, like, because there's lots of Emma Lovells. And then, I'd really love some love for retreatmehappy.com. So we're over at Retreat Me Happy. It's quite a cute name, so I think you'll be able to find it. And then you'll be able to see all the different avenues. We've got the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok will come soon, and all the channels. But those are the places I'd love to come and hang with you. And if you don't know where to go, like I said, just drop me a line and I'll point you in the right direction.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emma, for having this lovely felt business path chat with me today.
Loved it. Thanks, Jess.